So last summer, our family took a trip to Colorado. And one of the days we decided that we were going to do whitewater rafting. Now, I'm not naive enough to think this was like floating down the Elkhorn, but I was a little bit surprised with how intense it was. So we arrive at the place, this portage, and meet with the guides. And they proceed to hand us equipment. A helmet, right? Life jacket, not surprising. Helmet, a little bit surprising. So then they don't just say, okay, put your life jacket on. You know what you're doing, fasten it. That was not nearly good enough. They had to do it for you. So they would come around, you'd be in a line, and they'd just yank, 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 until it was so tight it was hard to breathe. And I know you think I'm being a little bit dramatic for the sake of the story, but I'm not kidding. I said to Tommy, one of my older boys, I said, can you breathe? And he said, yeah, I can breathe. So then I had to go back to one of the guys and have him loosen it. All the while this is happening, I happen to look on the side of the building. They have a map of the river that we're going to be on. It's the Arkansas River. And of course, all the things that are labeled are the different rapids, the Category 4 and Category 5 rapids. So, give you a few examples of the names they gave these things. Pinball, Big Drop, Zoom Flume, and the one that really got my attention, Widowmaker. And I thought, what did we get ourselves into? So then we go to the place where we're going to put the raft in. And they give us a crash course in river rafting. This is like 5 minutes. Now keep in mind, there's not a one of us who's ever done this before. And the thing is, at this point, my anxiety's up to here. But then they give us this crash course, and what did they spend 3 minutes of the 5 talking about? How to retrieve somebody when they fall out of the boat. Again, I thought, what in the world did we get into? But then something happened. We had our guide. They called him Fence. I don't know why they called him Fence. But I watched as he strategically placed us in the boat based on size and strength and probably reaction time, so I was towards the back. But then he said something that made a huge difference. He said, don't worry, I'll be with you the whole time. All you have to do is trust me. If you do what I say, we're going to be very safe. And we're going to be more than safe. We're going to have a wonderful trip. And you know what? That's what he did. We would be approaching rapids, and he would tell us exactly what was going to happen. He'd say, okay, here's what we're going to do, just so you're prepared. And then as we'd get closer, he'd say, okay, we ready? And we would do it. And then there were other parts of the river where it was calm, where there wasn't much rapids. And he'd say, okay, relax, take it in, enjoy. And folks, this was so beautiful because it's Brown Canyon and it's a little river and mountains on both sides. It was breathtaking. He said, take it in. And we did. Needless to say, we had a great trip. It was amazing. So you're probably thinking, what in earth does a river rafting trip in Colorado have to do with the gospel we just heard? Well, isn't it true? So we hear about the apostles who are coming back from a mission. Remember last Sunday, Father talked about the fact that they were given very little instruction. Right? He said, carry a walking stick, travel lightly, and bring Jesus with them. And yet they come back full of joy. Because I imagine their mission was far more successful than they could have ever imagined. And so what does Jesus say? Relax. Let's go get some rest together. But as they do that, right, we know what happens. All these people who need Jesus approach him. They're people, they're scared, discouraged, lost. And Jesus knows this, right? And his heart is moved with pity. His heart breaks for them. So what does Jesus do? He probably does something that I can't say I would necessarily do. What I would probably do is say, listen, I've been working really hard, and I really need a break. But that's not what Jesus does. He ministers to them. He teaches them. He heals them. See, here's the thing. For us in our life, isn't it true that sometimes it feels like we're the apostles here? Like things are going along really well. Things are smooth. And then there's other times in our life when things are messy. We're discouraged and sad and grieving. And see, the thing is, Jesus is with us in all of that. See, God desires to share all of those moments in your life. Think about that for a second. Our God desires to share all those moments with you. So, whether we come today with things going kind of smooth or not so smooth, pretty messy, we're hurt, we're broken, Jesus says, I'll be with you the whole time. All you have to do is trust me. So today, let's pray for the grace to recognize Jesus walking alongside us in those great moments and in those not so great moments. And let's do it right now. Regardless of how you came tonight. If we recognize Jesus is truly with us, we won't leave the same.